members of PAMA. We do have several businesses that are taking advantage of some of these services. We being SACA are adding more. And Will, I think you're maybe going to kind of host for SACA if you want to make just a few comments, and then we'll hand it over to our benefit partners.
Well,
you can just introduce yourself. That's fine.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought I was on mute, so I'm on the road, so I apologize to everyone. But Will Roberts, I am with the Southern Ohio Chamber Alliance, and we're excited to be part of your event this morning. Thank you for having us. SACA is a collaboration of 120 chambers from across the state of Ohio, and we provide support to these chambers so they can provide programs that help businesses do business. And that's what you're going to learn a little bit about today. So with that, I will turn it back over, but thank you very much for having us today.
All right, great. I'm going to start, if it's all right with folks, with the Newport benefit, just because we had scheduled first, I think, to join this meeting. If you want to go ahead, Dale.
Great, thank you. I appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to actually share my screen with my presentation that I have. Please let me know if you see it.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, because I'm having computer trouble, which is why I'm not on video. So I apologize for that. I've been back and forth with my laptop over the last couple of weeks. It's been kind of crazy. So good morning to everybody. I am Dale Essenmacher. I represent Newport. We provide the 401k benefit through SACA to your chamber members. Newport is a large independent provider of retirement services. Our clients range from Apple Computer, Nike, Walmart, large Fortune 500 companies, all the way down to 1- and 2-person plans, right? So we run the gamut in terms of our clientele and can handle any size of business. This pooled employer plan, which I'm going to get into in a second, is really more geared towards the smaller end of the business, and I'll talk about that in a second. First, I want to just start out with a retirement reality check here. This is the statistics that somewhat are shocking to people, but are really real statistics that are out there that people need to be aware of. Over 90% of small businesses, that's less than 10 people businesses, 90% of them do not even offer a retirement plan currently. And then over half of the companies in our country don't offer one at all, which is obviously very alarming because you have over 50 million Americans that are working currently that do not have an ability to save for retirement through a workplace retirement plan, which is obviously by far the easiest way to save for retirement, the least costly way to save for retirement. And you have a lot of people, millions and tens of millions of people that do not have the ability to save for retirement. So it's quite an alarming statistic, which is why this benefit, which I'm going to talk about in a second, is such an advantage for small businesses to be able to offer to their employees. So what is a pooled employer plan? A pooled employer plan is the old multiple employer plan, if some of you might be familiar with that. But what it is, it's a group of companies that are band together to roll up into a single retirement plan. So each individual company has their own plan provisions. You can have a match, another company might not have a match. One company might offer loans, another might not offer loans. You can have different eligibility. So it feels like you still have your own singular retirement plan. However, it rolls up or pools together into a single plan. Some of the advantages of what we offer with this, there's really 3 main advantages. It's cost, it's efficiency, and it's risk mitigation. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. This is an end-to-end solution. So this is a 401k plan. Whether you have a plan or you don't have a plan and want to start a plan, this is for you. It's an end-to-end solution. Newport is the record keeper and administrator for the plan. So we offer all the services that come with the plan: the tax filing at the end of the year, the testing at the end of the year, the statements to employees, the website access to employees, the mobile app for employees to get on and log in and make investment choices. We provide the investment choices on an institutional level. So it is a full end-to-end solution, whether, like I said, you are an existing plan or you're looking to start a retirement plan, we're the solution for you. Let me take a step back before we go into much more detail about the pooled employer plan, because I think this is an important point to know what's going on with the legislative environment. It's very significant. Most people are not aware of this, but it is something that you really do need to be aware of. So the federal government about 3 or 4 years ago was deciding how they were going to help solve that retirement crisis. The 52 million Americans that I talked about earlier that don't have access to a retirement plan, how can we help those Americans have access to a plan? The federal government was looking into mandating at a federal level, so across the country, any company that had 5 or more employees were going to have to offer a retirement plan. If you had 5 or more employees, you did not offer a retirement plan, they were going to face fines. So similar to the Affordable Care Act, for those of you that remember that back when President Obama was in office, he passed the Affordable Care Act. You had to have healthcare coverage if you had a certain size company, or you had to pay penalties. Same type of thing here. They were looking at having to start a 401k plan, or you were going to pay penalties. Well, the federal government couldn't agree on what they wanted to do with that. So what they did is they pushed it off to the individual states. So in the last couple of years, we've seen some significant movement with certain states in terms of mandating it at the state level. There's currently 13 states that mandate you to have a retirement plan to offer to your employees. There's another 36 states that are talking about it in their legislature, which today is Ohio. So in Columbus right now, it is in committee. They're talking about putting together a bill that will mandate you to offer a retirement plan to your employees. It's not law yet. Don't want to alarm anybody. It's not in place yet, but it will be in place in the next 12 to 18 months, call it. And what it basically is going to do is anybody that has 5 or more employees, they could go to 10, but it usually is 5 employees. That's what the other states have done. You have to offer a retirement plan. The anticipated timing of this is they will pass this next year, and you will have to offer a plan by January 1st of 2024, which seems like a long way away, right? And I'll give you a reason why you don't want to wait for this to pass. You can have a 401k plan. You can also join a state-sponsored plan. But much like the Affordable Care Act, when you join the government plan, it's going to be very costly, very clunky, and a frustrating experience for the individual employee. There's over 650,000 businesses that this will affect in the United States if every state passed this. But in Ohio, you're about between 20 and 30,000 companies that do not offer a plan that will have to offer a plan or face fines. The plans will probably have an auto enroll feature, which means everybody will be enrolled in the plan. They can opt out, but it'll be an auto feature. And the failure to comply, this is something that's going on in terms, I talked about penalties. This varies by state. The majority of states have gone to a fine of $750 per employee per year if you do not offer a plan. So for 10 employees, if you have 10 employees in your company, you don't offer a plan, it's $7,500 fine a year. I've seen an extreme case. There is one state out in the Northeast that actually does a $500 fine per employee per day, if you can believe that. So that's like a $5,000 fine a day if you had 10 employees every single day that you don't have a plan. So that's probably a ridiculous extreme, but it is out there. But note that this is going to be happening over the next year, year and a half. The reason why I bring this up is once this law passes and this is mandated, there's 20,000 businesses that are going to want to set up a retirement plan, right? Because they don't want to face fines. Costs you $1,000, $2,000 to have a retirement plan on an annual basis versus paying that kind of fine. If you wait until the state mandates this, there's going to be 20 to 30,000 companies that are going to be calling companies like me to try to set up a retirement plan. Here's the secret. We don't have time or capacity to set up 20,000 plans. It's going to take us 2, 3, 4, 5 years to set up a plan, which means you'll be in line with everybody else trying to set up a plan. So our pitch to you and our ask of you is to consider doing this earlier than the mandate comes down. That way you have a plan set up. You're not waiting and paying fines just because you're waiting in line to set up a plan. So going along with this, so the government's mandating this, making you have a plan. What they've also passed is some tax credits. Basically, and I'm not going to go through this chapter and verse, but basically it means that you're going to be able to get half of your money that it costs you to have a plan, the administrative cost. You're going to be able to take half of that in a tax credit back to your business. So in essence, you're paying about half the fees you would normally pay. There is some legislation right now that's talking about doing that 100%. Isn't in place yet, but at least 50% is in place for the first 3 years that you have a plan. So it costs you a couple grand to have a plan. You get half that back in a tax credit, not a deduction of credit. So it's dollar for dollar. So it's going to cost you, $1,000, $1,500 to offer a plan for the next 3 years. And then again, once those tax credits are up, you can change the way you want to collect those fees from participant accounts. So why the SACA pack? We're going to go back to this pooled employer plan real quick, and then I'll be finished with my comments and I'll ask if there's any questions. Number one is less costly. It's about a 30 to 40% cost savings off having a standalone plan. So if you're a small business that has a standalone plan today, we're going to save you about half of your fees just from offering it in a pooled employer plan environment. The participants will also get a better investment lineup. Their investment expenses are going to be about 80% less than what they're getting today. There is a significant reduction of fiduciary liability on your end as a business owner. About 90% of your fiduciary responsibility goes to Newport. You are no longer the named fiduciary on your plan. For those that have a plan out there, this is significant because you realize what's going on. To offer a retirement plan, there's a lot of responsibilities that go along with that. If you do not comply, you are personally responsible for any fines the Department of Labor might levy, or God forbid a participant sues. It's not just your business, but your personal assets are at stake because you are the named fiduciary. In this environment, you are not the fiduciary any longer. Newport takes on 100% of that fiduciary role. So that again reduces a lot of risk off of your plate as a business owner. And then there's about 75% work reduction in running this plan. The only thing you have to do if you have a retirement plan in this arrangement is to upload payroll to us every week, every other week, however often you pay your employees. We just need that contribution file uploaded via a website. That's it. The rest is done by Newport. It's completely off your plate. If you don't currently have a plan, the advantage is obviously you're satisfying the state mandate that's coming. You have the ability to start a plan before the flood of 20,000, 30,000 businesses in the state of Ohio. And then again, by offering this, you may be able to attract or retain employees. If your competitors down the street do not offer a plan and they're waiting for the state mandate to come down, you might be able to capture that talent. In today's world, obviously, with the labor shortages going on, it might just give you that leg up on your competition and getting that employee. And of course, the last couple of things, it allows your participants to retire at normal retirement age. This is kind of the unsung expense. If your employees are able to save for retirement, when they get to 65, 60, 70, whatever it is, they're able to retire, right? Because they have a balance in a 401k that allows them to live a retirement life. If they don't, they might be working until they're 75, 80. What type of cost does that give you in your healthcare coverage by covering an employee that's 70, 75, 80 years old? It's much more costly. Plus, they're probably earning a higher wage if they have merit increases throughout their entire career. So it gives that employee the ability to retire and it gets them off your payroll as an expense. And then finally, I talked a little bit about the tax credits. I'm more than happy to talk to anybody one-on-one about any of this at any time. But again, it gives you the ability to offset a lot of your expenses by running a plan. So there's really just no reason to wait. You're going to have a plan at some point in the next couple of years. Really no reason to wait if you don't have a plan. If you do have a plan, I'd love to do a side-by-side comparison and show you how you're going to save a lot of cost and a lot of time and significant responsibility. So any question? I see there's one question in the chat box. Gusto payroll integration. That's a great question. Yes, we have 360 integration with Gusto, which means basically our systems talk back and forth with Gusto and will reduce your administrative burden. We have about 100 different payroll companies we do 360 with, Gusto being one of them. To answer that question very directly, Aaron, thank you for that question. Any
Do you want to
other
make a comment, Dale? When we had spoken a couple months ago,
Sure.
You mentioned the benefits to employers that were right around the 100 employee range and the ability to reduce the audit requirements, I think.
Yeah, another really good question. So I talked about how, and you can see obviously how significant this is for small businesses. The other big advantage, and it was more of just a time constraint, but yes, the other advantage is any employer that has 100 eligible employees faces a plan audit on an annual basis. That audit costs about 10 to 20,000, somewhere in that range, dollars per year. In the pooled arrangement, if you join this and you have that many employees, you do not have to have an individual plan audit any longer. the PEP itself actually gets audited. So that's a $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 a year savings, as well as that auditor does not have to come into your business every year for 2 days, 3 days, whatever, to audit your plan. You do not have to do that any longer if you join this arrangement. So it has become very popular for those plans that are right around 100 employees as well. Thank you for bringing that up.
Great. Any questions? Any other questions for Dale? If not, we'll make all of the contact information available when we send out the links to the recordings, so that people that do have follow-up questions can submit them directly. We also have the benefit information on the PAMA website, which is parsonsarea.com. And I think Lisa updated that last week. So, all right, great, thanks.
Thank you.
Next, I think, Mike, you were the next one that was committed. So would you like to do an overview of your plan?
Sure. You're talking to me, right? Mike Stabler?
I am, yes, thank you.
Okay. I just want to make sure there wasn't. Let me get my screen. All right. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Kathy and Will, for having me. I'm here. My name is Mike Stabler. I am a benefits broker with S3 Partners here in Central Ohio. So we help small to medium-sized businesses accomplish their benefit goals with the fewest dollars spent, and with an emphasis on kind of communicating the features and benefits to make sure that their employees have high levels of engagement. So what I'm going to talk about today is this is a quick agenda. Why the MIWA. I'll go over some of the rating rules and eligibility, kind of touch on the member experience review. There's a unique opportunity for sole proprietors, and talk about the specialty benefits, dental, vision, and life, and how you can bundle those to save money with this plan. So yeah, the SACA benefit plan is unique in that it is a MIWA, multiple employer welfare arrangement. And what we are able to do is members of that plan can kind of come together as a participating employer. This plan is not subject to some of the same mandates offered under the Affordable Care Act, or ACA. And it can make the plan much more affordable for smaller businesses. So we have competitive rates, the stability of fixed, predictable monthly payments. There's a variety of plan designs. And when I say that, deductibles ranging, from the lower end, 500 to 1,000, all the way up to $5,000–6,000 deductibles, PPOs, HSAs. So there's quite a bit of flexibility to meet your budget, or whichever type of plan you are trying to currently match. You can also have dual option plans. We do that a lot, where we will kind of couple maybe a richer benefit plan with a less comprehensive plan and let the employee choose. Plan designs are very similar to pre-ACA models. So we've got, like I said, a wide range of benefits. You can also bundle. So we have life, vision, disability, and other programs that you can bundle for discounted prices. There's a couple extra benefits to bundling those with the clinical integration. So all of a sudden now we have this platform with our health insurance, our dental insurance, our vision insurance, all kind of communicating on the same platform and sharing information. I think the other value of this plan is we use the Blue Access PPO network. And so that is the large, wide scope network, lots of hospitals and doctors. And if anyone has ever had any experience with maybe an individual plan more recently, or some other restrictive HMO model plan for health insurance benefits, it just becomes much more challenging for people to go see the doctors and use the hospitals that they want. With the Blue Access PPO, that is usually not a problem. It's a very large network in the state of Ohio, and people have been very happy. So what are the rules? Who can participate in this plan? So this is a guarantee issue plan. So employers, unless they don't meet the eligibility requirements or meet any kind of participation and contributions, they can get a quote and evaluate if it's advantage to be part of this plan. So what are those eligibility requirements? So you must employ on average no more than 50 total employees on the previous calendar year. And so we have a formula where we can count those, but there are programs that are available for employers larger than that, but this is really geared towards what we call a small group market, that 2 to 50 market where now we also have to have at least 2 enrolled to start the plan. But that's probably a majority of your membership that really fits a lot of businesses in Ohio. Now, the group must be domiciled in Ohio. You can have employees in other states, and you must be a member of SACA to participate in this plan. So when we talk about participation and contribution requirements, we're going to use a formula of 75% of net eligible employees. And what that means is anyone who has other coverage through a spouse, Medicare, those other qualifying coverages, we're going to net those employees out. And then whatever is left, we need 75% of those without valid waivers to enroll, with a minimum of 2 to enroll. From a contribution standpoint, the employer is responsible for paying at least 25% of the total cost of the employee if they are covering dependents, or 50% of the single employee cost. What I like about this plan as well is there's quite a few different wellness and engagement programs. I won't go in depth on all of these, but I wanted to highlight a handful. So the Smart Shopper is a way for someone that is covered on this benefit plan to review. There's a wide range of price differences. Let's say, for example, an MRI. If someone is scheduled to have an MRI, usually they just take their doctor's recommendation and you might go right to the hospital and have that in the same facility. But by using this Smart Shopper, you're able to use this tool to see there's quite a difference in price between, even within a small geographic area. For example, you might be able to save $500 or $1,000 just by driving 3 or 4 miles down the street to a freestanding facility. I think the Smart Shopper one helps you kind of comb through that information to get those choices. And there is a slight incentive for the insured because there is a ability for them to make that better choice and earn a cash reward. Now, the cash reward will come to you in the form of a gift card, but there's also a cash reward in that typically those services are subject to deductible first. And so if they're making a choice that is quite a bit less, they're saving that money in deductible as well. So kind of a double savings there. Live Health Online is a service where someone can have convenience of face-to-face visits 24/7 with a live doctor. So that telemedicine has really gained some popularity. I think the pandemic kind of opened our eyes to the convenience and maybe even the necessity at that time for that type of service. There's a nurse line. There are future moms. There's benefits for people that are expecting, and they just get you dialed in with different programs and kind of help you there. Behavioral health is one where there's quite an extensive benefit. Those dealing with depression, anxiety, stress, or substance abuse. There's a behavioral health program, offers some additional help and gets that member dialed into an extensive network of psychiatrists, social workers, and residential treatment centers. Case management as well. Anyone that has ever struggled with illness or injury, it can be kind of daunting to navigate the healthcare system. And this is just a little additional help. You get a trained expert that's used to helping people through this process, and it is something that's included in your plan. All these services that are there, sometimes it's easy to ignore or forget that they're there. But we also know that employees using health improvement incentives are 4 times likely to have yearly wellness exams and tests than those without, and that leading to closing more clinical care gaps and increased cost savings. And so what the SACA benefit plan has started is what we call the Engagement 200. And so this is just a way for people to engage these different services and earn up to $200 in gift cards by completing a variety of tasks. You see here on this list, something as simple as an adult wellness exam. A lot of people are really doing those each year anyway, but as they do that, that information is reported and they can start earning credits. And so you can just see a cholesterol test, flu shot, mammogram, all these plans or all these different services can start adding up, and people can cash in those rewards by engaging in those different services. The way that looks is you got app or online, so you can register at anthem.com or the Sydney Health app, and it'll start tracking and telling you which things that you can do to earn certain credits. Once you've completed a few of those, you can go on the menu and start redeeming your rewards. And this is on a calendar year basis. So this is around the time we start reminding people that that's out there. And then you just go ahead and pick your favorite gift card, Amazon, Target, any of the major retailers there, and you can cash in those rewards. Here's a unique, I know in the previous slides, we did mention that most businesses need 2 employees to start, but this is something a little bit newer, about 2 years ago, but there is an option for a sole proprietor. So this would be a group of 1. You might have a lot of members there that typically a sole proprietor may have been on the individual marketplace and dealing with a little restricted network. And this is a way for them to get the same plans that employers up to 50 lives can take advantage of. And so for sole proprietors, they can decline to quote. So we would have to complete some information. But the eligibility requirements for a sole proprietor would be you can't have any other employees, right? You're truly a sole proprietor. You have to work 30+ hours per week in your business. And then because there's typically not payroll records, we're going to provide a cover page for the IRS 1040 and Schedule C, or 1040 with Schedule F and SE. Now, there are some restrictions. We're not anywhere close to this, to my knowledge, but there is a general rule that the total membership of the plan cannot exceed 10% for sole proprietors. So we kind of keep our eye, or Anthem and SACA keeps their eye on how many sole proprietors there, but as of right now, this is still open to anyone, business of 1, where someone can participate in the plan as a sole proprietor. Another unique thing that we kind of touched on is kind of bringing this all together, the Anthem Whole Health Connection. So this is where now we start having the plans. If you have your bundled medical, dental, vision, with the SACA MIWA, there's a way to kind of connect those and really just have a comprehensive health profile for each member. So we connect all of that data together. And really what that does is give your providers a better overall picture of your health, and they can intervene and make some suggestions if they see something that might improve your health or wellness. So like I had mentioned, we have a couple different ancillary options. So Anthem Dental got the largest dental PPO network. We have a variety of plans, even included is an unlimited annual maximum plan. Other plans that have maximum, say $1,000, $1,500 a year, do have some carryover options if you don't use all your benefit that year. Accidental dental injury coverage is included at no extra cost. And certain fillings and implants are covered on all plans for the posterior composite fillings. Vision as well, one of the largest vision networks in the US, 20% discount on frames. Transition lenses covered for children at no extra cost, and they're $75 for adults. There's a couple different discounts available to adults as well, including discounts on LASIK surgery and other services. Now, why I like to talk about the bundled or the additional ancillary is there are some additional savings. And so what I have had a lot of success with and sharing with people that are interested in this plan is that if you enroll in medical, dental, vision, and or life, we have ability to get some additional credits. The credit is based on the medical premium equivalent. So how many people are enrolling in your medical plan. But for example, this is kind of an eye chart here, but if you had 10 employees that are enrolled in medical and you added dental, vision, and life, you would be able to get a one-time credit of $2,000 for combining all those services. So that's just a great way for the employer and employee to save some money on some great plans and kind of bundle all those services together. So I welcome any questions on the different plans, but that is my overview of the SACA MIWA benefit plan.
Thanks, Mike. And I do want to mention, my husband and I are a group of two.
Yeah.
And we have been looking at some options as my corporate, kind of health plan goes away. So it's very complicated, and it's good to have, an agent available to help you kind of figure all this out. And that's how this works, right?
Yeah, I mean, that is where, I mean, we kind of try to simplify and make that process, anytime you're talking about insurance, let's be honest, it's not always the most pleasant, right? From the shopping and getting all the plans together to navigating, okay, now that we have our quotes back, what plan do we go with? There's so many different plans. And so that's where an agent like myself or someone that is authorized to sell this product, we've been trained and kind of help navigate those. Yes. And then I think from there, once you've kind of picked that plan, the other step is kind of communicating it to the employees. And that's where I think there's sometimes a lost opportunity, but let's look at it as a great opportunity to share in some of these different incentive programs and engagement programs. Because once you get people kind of involved and know, I mean, there are so many programs and different avenues for people to take to kind of have a better experience, to be more informed when they go to the doctor, to save money on services and prescriptions that they are using. And so I think it's just tying that all together, like picking the plan is, and certainly the SACA MIWA has been such a great way for employers to save money on a fantastic plan, but also kind of communicating that with all these additional tools and resources available to them for a plan that, typically may not have been available to a smaller group of 2, group of 3, 10. That's, I think, a great benefit to a program like this is just you're able to step into some of these services that were kind of reserved for larger companies.
Yeah, and so for some of those people that want to, kind of get into, starting a business and so on, right? These are the things that give you that ability to, still manage your healthcare and make that move. So thanks for that
Yeah.
presentation, and we'll again make resources available to folks for follow-up.
Thank you.
Yeah, so next we're going to go to the Chamber Energy Program.
All right.
Morning, Rick.
Good morning. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So today I'm going to talk to you about the Chamber Energy Program and the Chamber Sustainability Program. And these two programs are really designed to help members save money and reduce the amount of usage that they use each and every day, as well as the ability for them to go green. There's no question that folks are seeing their utility bills going up, or they're hearing that utility bills are on the rise. And well, I've been doing this a long time, and I have not seen this type of volatility or this type of price spikes ever. So we have partnered with NOAC and SACA really to go across the state of Ohio, and we provide education, protection, and savings, as well as some sustainability assistance for all size members, really from that small home-based business all the way up to the large commercial customers. And we help with home as well, and we can help you with your electric and natural gas. And really, the biggest thing today is that folks just don't realize that they're paying more than they should. So a lot of customers had great rates for a long time, and it was a cost of doing business, and people just paid their bills. They didn't pay attention, or they paid their bills online and never pulled a copy of their bill. Well, today, if a fixed price contract ends and that customer's not paying attention, or that member's not paying attention, and their contract rolls to a variable contract, those prices are skyrocketing, and we're seeing prices as high as 22, 24 cents per kilowatt hour. That's an insane amount of charges that's coming from the supplier. And by the time that customer, the member, finds out, it takes them 2 months to get out of it. And by that time, the market's already increased. We have seen the price of energy go up each and every day. And so when we're calling members to take a look at your bill, it's serious. And there's no, everybody's seeing inflation going up. Everybody's seeing gas at the pump going up, although that's come down a little bit. But energy costs at your home and your business are absolutely going up. Russia just announced that they are stopping the Nord pipeline to Europe indefinitely, and that was on Monday. That increased Europe's prices by 36%. That's going to put more pressure on the US to export more gas over to Europe, and that's just driving our prices here locally. So these two charts here, really, the top chart is electricity, and we're seeing really warm summer temps. Yesterday, California had some emergencies with high temps, and rates continue to climb. The good thing is that the longer term rates are still lower than the short term. So many folks are going out 60 months. In the past, it was a 24-month, maybe a 36-month term. Now members are going out all the way out to 30 or out to 60 months, really to protect their budget. So it's really no longer about how much money can I save? It's how much money can I protect myself from a budget perspective and lock in, so I'm not exposed to these volatile prices and I'm paying 3 to 4 times what I could be paying if I locked in a rate. Natural gas really is the driver for electricity. 40% of electricity is really driven by gas. That's how we generate our electricity, is through natural gas. And so as natural gas rises, so does electricity. We are seeing low inventory levels in gas. So today would be a day that we would be pumping gas into the ground for inventory. The problem is that we need that gas here locally to generate because of the warm summer temps. We're exporting a tremendous amount already to Europe. Demand is up. And so our inventory levels going into the fall right now are below the 5-year average. And so that is really putting a lot of pressure on the gas market. And you can see the volatility. There was a small dip in July timeframe when an LNG plant exploded in Texas, and therefore we couldn't ship natural gas to Europe. And so that inventory got dumped into our US market here, or it stayed here. And so that dropped the price quite a bit. And ever since it's moved its way right back up. And so we are encouraging anybody out there that pays a utility bill, send in a copy of your bill to us. Let us take a look at it. Let us show you where your supplier is. Let us show you where your rate is, because it's something that if you're not paying attention, it could really, really hurt you in the end. This is an example of what's happening on natural gas rates. Many folks did not shop natural gas. Natural gas has been relatively inexpensive, but to give you an example, almost all regions in Ohio, natural gas is double from what it was last year. And so really customers are seeing really $1,200 to $1,300 for a small business. That is just a small base business. So if you are a restaurant or a larger user, you're going to see a much bigger impact. So if you have a contract today and you're in a great rate today because you signed up 2 years ago and your contract ends a year from now, you want to take a look at it and send us your bills. We can tell you where prices are at a year from now when your contract terms. So you can actually decide, do I want to make a decision today and lock in a contract today that starts a year from now, or do I want to wait? But at least you have all the knowledge you need to make the best decision for your company, because there are a lot of people that have made a decision to move forward, and there's a lot of people that are waiting and hoping that it comes down. And unfortunately, those prices have continued to rise, and we've seen a lot of customers that could have locked in at great rates, and now their price is much higher, and now they're in a position where it's going to cost them a lot more money. The process is really simple. We have an inquiry form that you fill out. If you were a restaurant, for example, and you use natural gas in the cooking process, you can actually reduce your sales tax by that percentage. We are seeing a lot of churches and nonprofits that are paying sales tax because their supplier didn't, or their broker didn't submit the right forms, or nobody was checking, and ultimately they're paying sales tax and they shouldn't be. So those nonprofits out there, make sure, take a look at your bill. If you're unsure about it, send it in to us. We'll take a look at it. We'll let you know if you are paying sales tax or not. Really, we're focused on fixed prices, and there's a lot of people that are getting calls today about these variable rates, and they sound great. And within a month, we're seeing them 3 to 4 times higher than what they originally signed up. And so you have to be very, very careful with contract language today. When you sign a contract and you're a little bit bigger user, you want to make sure that you understand how much material deviation you have. So how much swing can you have on your load? And like, for example, with COVID, there's a lot of people that lowered their usage. And if their contract didn't allow them to do that, they could have been penalized, or they may have been penalized. And so you want to make sure that you work with somebody you trust, that you understand the contract language, that you understand when you're signing a contract that most contracts have early termination fees, and what that looks like for you as a company. So you simply fill out this information. You check electricity, natural gas. If you want sustainability, you can check that as well. And you send us a copy of your bills. We'll let you know exactly where you stand. If you're with a supplier and you don't know when your contract ends, we'll find that out for you. So we can package all this up for you so you can make the best decision for your company. So I'll roll into chamber sustainability, and this fits really well with the chamber energy program because rates are going up so fast, so high, that we wanted to create a simple, practical, and affordable solution for that small to mid-sized business around sustainability. there's a lot of small to mid-sized businesses that don't realize what that means to be sustainable, or they think that it's expensive. We are definitely seeing a lot of pressure coming from consumers today that are demanding that folks sell sustainable products. We know that the younger generation are looking for employers to align to their values. They want to work for a sustainable company. There's a lot of pressure from stakeholders and government to meet carbon targets. We just saw that the Inflation Reduction Act was passed. So there's a lot of pressure for folks to follow these and follow and meet these carbon targets. And on the large corporation side, this is the part that a lot of small to mid-sized businesses are going to be impacted by. On the large business, they have 3 scopes that they follow. Scope 1 is natural gas coming into the building and it's emitting carbon. How do they reduce that? So that's scope 1 of a goal for them. Scope 2 is your electricity that you use. How do you convert that to green? You can do that through a variety of ways. Solar would be an example. You could buy renewable energy credits. Scope 3 is, what are you doing with your vendors? Are you working with vendors that are also following a sustainable plan? So if you're a small to mid-sized business that does business for a bigger corporation, they may start putting pressure on you and asking you, what is your sustainable plan? And some of those sustainable plans, like I talked about, include on-site solar, LED lighting, rebates and grants, energy audits, all these things that's happening out there, but some of them can be very costly. And so for the large business, really, we're seeing a lot of manufacturers now switching and really looking at solar. There for a while, solar was really more of a wanna do versus a financial decision. Now with the return on investment and where costs are going from an electricity and natural gas perspective, a lot of folks are putting in solar and they're protecting themselves and they're getting a 7 to 8 year payback and with a warranty of 30 years. And so we would encourage you that if you're thinking about solar and you want to protect your budget, this is a great opportunity. And now that there's a tremendous amount of incentives out there for small to mid-sized businesses to be able to do this. So we are putting on a lot of sustainable seminars, webinars throughout the rest of this year. Really, they're educational pieces. And so we talked to you about what that looks like if you put in solar, what are the requirements for your rooftop, what are some financing options for you, what's that ROI look like, what are the incentives and rebates. In Ohio, there were a lot of rebates that came through the utility companies. A lot of those went away, but we can still get rebates for you through PJM. And so we're getting rebates for folks all the time. But I would encourage anybody out there that put off doing LED lights. Now is absolutely the time to do LED lights. That is such a quick win. The payback is 1 to 2 years, and it's very simple to do. We can provide vendors for you. If you want several quotes, we can get you those quotes and understand what that means to do an LED upgrade. We're also working with a state auditor that the state of Ohio is offering a 75% rebate for all manufacturers that do an audit. And so the process is very simple. You have to work with a state-approved auditor. There's 3 of them in Ohio. We do a simple walkthrough for an hour. We highlight some key areas that we believe you can save money. And then we present that to you and what the cost of the audit is. And ultimately, the state of Ohio will pay 75% of that. And that's a way for the larger users out there to really understand how they can reduce their overall usage and save money. And it's all taken care of through a state auditor or state approved auditor. We also have renewable energy certificates. So that big size company that wants to go green and convert their electricity to 100% green, they're already buying renewable energy certificates. But the small base business, a lot of them don't know about renewable energy certificates. And this is a very simple, practical, and affordable way for a small base business to go green. And with that younger generation wanting to work for sustainable companies, this is a way for you to promote that you are green for your company and attract that young talent that's looking for that. What does that mean? So ultimately, when you're investing in renewable energy credits, there are these wind and solar farms that put power onto the grid. And at the same time, houses and businesses are pulling that power from the grid. And when that power is put on the grid from the solar and wind farms, the green attribute is pulled out and is able to be sold to allow the houses and the businesses to use that green attribute and green up their homes and their business. And in return, they pay the wind and solar farm to continue to invest in the future. And so now a small base business can go green on their electricity. They can advertise and brand that they're 100% green, and it's relatively inexpensive. So for a small home-based business, you can green up your home for $120 per year. If you're a small base business that uses 25,000 kilowatt hours, you can green up your business for $250 per year. And we also have an employee benefit that you can offer to green up your employees' homes for $120 per year per employee as an employee benefit. So now we talked about attracting that younger talent. Now you're providing them an employee benefit as well. And more importantly, you can advertise that not only are you green, but also all of your employees are green. And it's through the renewable energy certificates. And I'll give you an example. We had a small manufacturer that the lady that took over for her father, she'd been working there a long time. She's much younger than he is, and he didn't want to do anything with sustainability. But as soon as she took over the business, she called us and said, I want to green up our electricity because I want to do my part. So there's a lot of people that really just want to do their part, and this is a way for that business to do their part. And it's relatively inexpensive to be able to do that. You simply fill out an inquiry form for the sustainability plan, and you could either green up your home, your business, your employees. You check the box on the second page. You fill out your information. You attach a copy of a recent electric bill. And if you want to do things like real-time monitoring, energy efficiency, rebates, the solar, carbon offsets, you'd fill this out, and then we'll reach out and contact you. But that's as simple as it is. And so if you were thinking about going with a solar project or what that costs today, we can provide that to you, and we don't have to come out. We can do that right from sitting in front of the computer and looking at your rooftop. So we can do that relatively easy to get you a quote, and then offer you different financing opportunities and what are those grants and incentives look like, and package it all up from a return on investment perspective. Or if you just want to green up your business, if you send in your bill, we can let you know how many RECs you need to buy, and then you purchase those RECs, and now you are 100% green for that year by purchasing those RECs. And that's really the presentation. I'll turn it over to any questions that you guys may have.
Thanks, Rick. I do think this is obviously a topical, comments, and it's subject to change with all of the IRA, credits that are going to be coming over the next few years. So it would encourage our members to kind of subscribe to these updates so that we can, kind of all stay on track with it as it's changing, both I think at the federal level, but also at the state level.
Yeah, that's great, Kathy. Yeah, we'll be really focused on just education. So don't feel committed by any way. Pop on when we have the seminars and grab some lunch and listen in of what the latest and greatest that is happening at the state and federal level.
Yep, thank you. I just want to make one more comment. So SACA offers a variety of benefits. PAMA has subscribed this year to the first 3 that we just covered. And more recently, I think even in the last week, we've adopted the partnership benefit also. And so what I'm sharing here is from the SACA website. I thought Lisa had added it to our website, but she hasn't, but I'll make sure that gets done soon. It's a new benefit that's available to PAMA members, and there's 2 parts to it. One is FedEx discounts, and so you can kind of see here what those are. So FedEx Express shipping, ground shipping, and home delivery. And then there's also a freight component to that. So If you are a larger, kind of enterprise with freight requirements, there's a competitive pricing access, right? So that you can get quotes from a variety of the different, you can kind of the main freight truckers, if you will, out there. And this is basically partnership acting as a freight broker to get you the best savings for your freight business. So that's a new benefit that's just been added to the PAMA members in the last week. You do have to enroll, and you get an account basically when you enroll, so you can ship from there. Will, anything we should cover that we didn't cover, would you say?
Well, Kathy, I think you covered it pretty well right there. Here at SACA, we're constantly looking for programs that make sense for business. And the partnership that we have with our members like PAMA are just the valuable resources that help make this all happen. So I guess I would just add a thank you, Kathy, to you. Thank you to Dale and Mike and Rick for their presentations this morning. It's always, even as many times as I have heard these programs, I always learn something new every time I sit through these. So again, thank you, gentlemen, for your time, and Kathy, thank you.
Absolutely. The PAMA annual meeting is in November. And I think at that time, we will probably make all of these benefit options available and make another determination. But you can see for PAMA members, there are other options that we haven't elected yet. But if you see something that you think would be valuable to you as your business, we're certainly open to working with Will and with SACA to do the work to make that benefit available. So. All right. Well, thanks again for everyone's time. This has been recorded. It will be shared with both our membership and our interest list. We do have members that I believe have joined solely because of the benefits of SACA, which is perfectly great. And we just welcome all of the South Side and Columbus area businesses that would find advantages to the SACA benefits to reach out. And again, we'll make all of the materials available so that people can reach out and explore further what works best for their businesses. So thanks again. Have a great day.
Thank you.